Performance cars like this ZR1 were designed to be enjoyed out on the open road, but maintaining a perfect paint finish on this car can be challenging. And listen, it's not always achievable to pay somebody, thousands of dollars to have it detailed all the time. Now, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to machine polish or paint correct your car in your garage with a simple kit that ChevroletAccessories.com offers, and you can also pick it up at the dealership. Now, the polisher kit, as you can see in the box here, comes with the machine polisher. It comes with 3 different polishing pads. It has a pad conditioning brush as well as a swirl finder light. Listen, swirl marks is the thing that every car has, and the way to fix it is with this machine polisher. Now, along with this kit, you're gonna need a couple other things with it. You're gonna need some premium microfiber towels, which is these single soft premium microfiber towels. You're also gonna need the compound as well as the polish. And I also like to have the Adams Polishes detail spray with us. This is something we're going to use to rehydrate the pads during the process. Now, Adams Polishes machine polishing process is designed to be a 2-step process, okay? You start with compound and then you finish with polish. Now, on the first step, you need to make a decision, okay? Anything that has blue foam on it is what you use with compound. And if you're colorblind or it's too confusing, if you flip the pad over, it actually says compound on the back. So very much designed to be color coded and to be used together. Now, when you move on to the polishing step, you use the white foam pad. And again, if you can't remember, it says polish on the back. So again, color coded, so a 2-step process. And the way that this works is your first step is to remove damage. It's to remove swirl marks, it's to remove scratches, but because compound is a little bit more aggressive, it can leave a little bit of haze behind, or sometimes called marring. Now, where polish comes in is it cleans up that haze or marring to leave an award-winning showroom finish. This process might seem daunting, okay? But I'm telling you right now, with our experience at Adams Polishes, anybody can do this. Our company is dedicated to teaching this process and helping people achieve paint perfection in their garage. Now, one thing I will say is if you're doing this at home, okay, you're not paying somebody, you're not doing it for somebody, you don't have a deadline. So that doesn't mean that you have to finish your whole car in one sitting, okay? That can be exhausting, it can take a long time. What you can actually do is paint correct portions of your car at a time, and over a span of, say, a couple weeks, you can fully have your car polished and ceramic coated very easily. Now, traditionally, when it came to machine polishing, people would be using buffers. They would talk about, oh, I gotta buff my car, okay? Rotary buffers is not what Adams Polishes offers. It's old technology. It only opens the door to damaging your paint or burning through your paint, which is a term that's used a lot in our industry. Adams Polishes machines are dual action random orbital polishers, meaning the backing plate is offset, so it orbits, mimicking the motion of your hand, but it also spins, but the spin is not forced. It's a free spinning backing plate paired with the orbit. So if I take one of our pads and place it on here, and I put this at speed setting 2, I can actually turn this on and hold on to the backing plate, and it's not going to shoot my hand off or damage anything. So when it comes to machine polishing, using a dual action polisher is very important. It reduces the chance for getting damage, essentially eliminates it completely, but you can still achieve perfection in your paint by the 2-step system that we have designed. Now on this ZR1, the paint is far from perfect, okay? There's quite a bit of scratches in this, and naturally this thing is going to car shows, it's going to events, and it's being wiped on, it's being rubbed on, it's being touched by people. And when we inspect the paint with our swirl finder light that comes in the kit, you can see the swirl marks, you can see the scratches that are in this paint. Now, the only way to correct this and make it look perfect is by doing the machine polishing process. So what we're gonna do today I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to do the machine polishing process, and we're gonna turn this paint back to perfection. First thing, you have to start with a clean vehicle. So whether you're going to wash it outside, foam it down, use the mitt, do that first, or even if you wanna just waterless wash this. If it's not too filthy and there's just a layer of dust on, you can waterless wash the car first. The other thing is you wanna remove any bonded contamination that's on the vehicle. Well, what's bonded contamination? Bonded contamination we define as anything that you cannot remove the car during the washing process. So things like paint overspray, tree sap, things that stick to the surface, you want to remove that first. It's going to make your machine polishing process more effective. And the way you do that and the product you use is a clay mitt, and you use it in conjunction with detail spray. Your detail spray is the lubrication agent for the clay mitt. Spray a nice mist onto the car, rub your clay mitt on there, and it's going to remove any of that bonded contamination that's on the car. Now we've gone ahead and done the whole clay process on this car, so there's no bonded contamination on the surface. So now we can start the machine polishing process. So the first step to this is the compounding step. Okay, that's the blue compound with either the microfiber pad or blue foam pad. And you have to make a choice in the beginning with either one of these. They both have blue foam on them, so paired with the compound. Now, your microfiber pad is more aggressive, your blue foam pad is less aggressive, but instead of just jumping in and polishing the whole car, compounding the whole car first, what we want to do is do a small section that we call the test area, or I like to call it the research area, because we're going to go through some steps to figure out how to get this car perfect, and then we apply that to the rest of the vehicle. So what I like to do is I like to take the blue foam pad first, paired with the compound, okay? If this pad removes all of the damage, then I can just jump to the polish step and I'll have perfect paint. But if I get through the swirl marks only and there's still some scratches left, I may need to bump up to the microfiber pad to remove the damage and then even it out with the polish after. So make sure that your pad is centered onto the machine. And the best way to do that, which I like to do, is there's the center hole here on the pad. You can line it up with the screw that's on the backing plate of the polisher. Now we take our compound, and I'm just working kind of a 3 foot by 3 foot section, but with the compound, what I like to do is make 4 lines. So take this, 4 small lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. We'll set our compound aside. Now, your cord, this is very important. If you do not put this over your shoulder, it's going to drag along the car and scratch it. You're gonna work against yourself. So make sure you place the cord over your shoulder so we don't drag it on the car. And when we start to do this, I'm not gonna set this on here and start the machine instantly. I'm actually gonna spread the compound out onto the surface, because if I don't do that, it's gonna sling compound all over me, all over the car. And again, we're gonna be working against ourselves. We wanna be efficient with this process. It takes a little bit of time. So making steps forward and not backwards is very important. So we'll spread this out. Now, your machine polisher has 6 different speed settings. It goes from 1 to 6. I like to run the machine at setting 4. When you're using a machine polisher, it's very important that you start with the polisher on the car, the polisher and pad on the car, before you turn it on. And when you finish, when you release the power button, you want to keep it on the car as well. You don't want to take it off and then turn it off. You want it to be in contact with the car when you turn the machine off. I kind of talk about polishing in sort of the 4 or 5 P's of polishing. Number 1, passes. How many passes do I do and how do we define that? I define a pass as going cross-hatching. So side to side and up and down is equal to 1 pass, okay? I like to do 2 passes for reference. The second P, pressure. How much pressure do I push onto the polisher while I'm doing this process? I call it the rule of thumb. How hard you can push with your thumb is how hard you push down on the polisher. And if you need to remember that, you can grip the polisher from the front and you can use your thumb as the pressure point. Pace, which I would call speed, like how fast do I move the polisher? You want to move at a slow and steady pace, okay? This is not rotary buffing. You're not going to move super, super fast. You actually move at a nice, slow, steady pace. The fourth P, plane, okay? Plane means, how do I make contact with the car? Should it be at an angle? You want to make sure that the polisher is flat on the surface. So now that we've gone over the 4 Ps of polishing, now we can get into it. So our machine polisher has a slow start, which is amazing. Okay, you also have the pistol grip. I like to use the hand that's on the pistol grip to control the plane of the polisher, okay? I like to use the hand that is over the head of the polisher as my pressure and the movement part of it. So turn this on and we'll start polishing. So once you turn the polisher on, you hold the trigger down and then you push the lock button in. So now it's gonna run without you having to hold on to, okay? So you wanna move about this fast of a pace, keeping the pad flat on the surface. And as I do my passes, when I go side to side and up and down, I'm going to overlap by about an inch. So I just finished one pass so far. I'm going into my second pass right now. I'm using my thumb as the pressure point, about as hard as I can push with my thumb. I'm doing my side to side pass right now. And now I'm going up and down. Turn the machine off, leave it on the car. Once it stops, take it off. Now what we can do is we can take our premium single soft microfiber towel. We're going to wipe this away. Now, when you wipe it away, I think what most people would want to do is do little circles. Long, fast swipes is the easiest way to remove any polish or compound. So take it, wipe it away like so. After you've done your first section of the test area, we want to inspect it. And I actually like to leave a little bit of the compound left so I know where I'm separated from what I haven't done to what I have done. So we'll take the swirl finder light and we're going to inspect it. Now what I'm seeing and what you're seeing in camera is that the swirl marks are gone, okay? But there's still a ton of deep scratches in here. In my mind, what that tells me, the results that we see here, is that I need to bump up to the microfiber pad. The only variable I'm gonna change here is the pad. So everything else is the same. We take our compound, we're gonna make the 4 lines. Same thing, cord over shoulder. Spread the compound out onto the surface. And go through the same process. I'm still on setting 4, not gonna change that. The pressure with my thumb doesn't change. My pace, my passes, all of that stays the same. It's just we're utilizing the fibers of the microfiber to do more of the work. So I'll go into this, lock it in. Same thing, side to side. Then once I'm done doing that, then we'll go up and down. Now, one thing I hope you notice is the section I'm working on, there's a crease here that kind of goes down. As I go across that, I tilt the polisher with my right hand up so I stay flat on the surface. Going into my second pass right now. Now, just as a reference, as I feel the panel here, it doesn't feel warm at all, okay? The heat generation of this machine polishing process with the dual action random polisher, it doesn't cause a lot of heat in the paint. You're not gonna burn through the paint. You're not gonna swell the paint. What we're trying to do is correct it without causing damage. And utilizing this swirl killer polisher is absolutely one of the most important tools that you can use for achieving paint perfection. So we take our single soft premium microfiber towel. We're gonna buff this away again. I'll leave a little bit of compound over here as a reference as to where my before and after is. There's a little bit left. I might have to do one extra pass, but as a whole, it looks much better. Now, the one thing I am noticing is some of the marring from the compounding process. I am not worried about that at all, because I know that once I move on to the polish step, it's going to even all of that out and leave a perfect mirror finish. I'll do an extra 2 passes with the microfiber step to clear up any of these deeper scratches that are left behind, and then we'll move on to the polishing step. So after a couple extra passes with the microfiber pad and the compound, we have removed all the damage that we wanted to. Now, I know now microfiber pad with compound, setting 4, that exact pace I did, that's what I'm gonna do as my first step around the whole car, okay? That is the reason why the fact that we had to try blue foam, didn't quite get there, did 2 passes of the microfiber, didn't quite get there, did 2 extra passes, now we're there. If we didn't do that, what you would have done is compounded your whole car, come back and be like, oh, you would have done it again. And then you would have done it a 3rd time. So getting your test area right first allows you to apply it to the rest of the car, making your machine polishing process more efficient. With your microfiber pad, what's gonna happen as you do this process, the fibers are gonna get matted down just like this, okay? That's where your pad conditioning brush comes into play, okay? What you're going to do, there's 2 ways to do this. You can either hold on to the polisher and the backing plate so it doesn't spin, and you can brush this. So as you can see, we brush the fibers so they're back standing up like when we first started using the pad. If you don't use this, it makes your microfiber pad less effective. So brushing through your microfiber pad after each pass is very, very important. Now, the other way that I like to do this is I will just turn away from the car. I'll hold it away from me, pull the trigger of the polisher and set the pad conditioning brush on top. Like so, and it brings the fibers back to how they are meant to be. Now, the second thing I want to say is if you continue to add compound to this pad, you'll overload the pad, it will gum up, and now it will just glide on the surface. It will be non-effective essentially. So instead of adding compound to your pad, you can take Adams Polish's detail spray, and like this comes in the Corvette Care Kit, it comes in the new car care kit. This is a staple in car care in general. You can use this to rehydrate the dried compound that's in your pad. Give it 2 sprays, and as you can see, when I set this back onto the car, there's still a ton of compound left inside of the pad. So what we want to do is work through all the compound that's inside the microfiber pad or the foam pad. And then once you start to see this be a little bit more clear after spraying detail spray, then revert back to your compound, putting it into the pad, being more aggressive. All right, so after we do the compounding step, which is step 1, we are going to move on to step 2, which is the polishing step. So we'll remove our microfiber pad. I actually like to set this somewhere on the car so I remember that is the first step that I'm gonna do. So take our white polishing pad, center it onto the backing plate like so. Now, in this step, we're changing only 2 variables, okay? The pad, we switch to the white pad, and the second variable, the white polish. Now, inside of our polish and our compound, there is diminishing abrasive. So imagine if there was microscopic sand particles, but what happens is diminishing means they break down. So they kind of start, if you look under a microscope, they start as like little asteroids or rocks. And as you work through your compound on your passes and your movement and a little bit of heat that happens, little pieces of it start to break off. So it starts at a certain level and then it starts to break down. So the diminishing aspect of it means that you can start to remove the damage, but as the abrasive refines, that's how we get to achieving a perfect finish. So compound is more aggressive, okay? It's intended to remove more damage. And where that breaks down to, polish leads off of that. So it kind of starts at where compound is done breaking down, and then it refines even more so to create a mirror finish, or for you, an award-winning finish. So that's kind of the concept of how the diminishing abrasive works. But again, like I said before, we're changing only 2 variables, the pad and the polish. We do the same thing, 4 lines, onto the pad. I'm not going to change the speed either. I'm going to stay at setting 4. Now, in this step, I might actually bump my speed down after I do this first set of passes, but for right now, we're going to stay at setting 4. And as you remember, we're going to spread the polish out so we don't sling it all over all of our friends, myself, the car. And same thing, 2 passes. We're going to do the same pressure. Everything stays the same except the polish in the pad. Okay, a couple passes done. Before I wipe this off, I actually want to give you kind of like an advanced tip. It's not really advanced, but it's something that I do on every polishing system that I have. I will take a Sharpie marker and on the pad itself, I will actually draw a line on there, kind of make a mark like so. What happens is I can really see the rotation of the pad as I'm using it. So if I place this on here, when you look through the camera here, if I put no pressure on here, the mark is spinning really fast. If I push too hard, the mark will actually stop, or if the pad is not on a flat plane. So what happens is as I polish, if I push too hard, it tells me that, okay? If I'm not pushing hard enough, it's spinning too fast. I want a very steady movement of that line moving around as I'm watching it. So if you need a reference to make sure that the dual action is working properly, draw a line with a marker onto your pad and it gives you a visual reference to be able to manage that. Okay, after we've done our couple passes, again, we're gonna inspect the surface. I can already tell it looks a lot better. The depth that I'm getting from this process is just, compared to everything else, it looks a lot different. So I'm gonna grab my swirl finder light. Oh my gosh. That's pretty good, I'll be honest. Gosh, that process is perfect. So I mentioned it earlier before, sometimes if you go through this polishing step and you still see a little bit of haze, that can be caused from the immediate polishing part, using the polish at its full strength of the abrasive, of the diminishing abrasive. Sometimes when you actually bump your speed down to setting 3 or 2, it actually maximizes the amount of orbits that's happening on your machine polisher and it refines it even more. Well, now that I've done this test area, or like I like to call the research area, I know the exact process that I'm gonna do on the rest of the vehicle. So we know that we need to start with compound with the microfiber pad and maybe do 1 to 2 extra passes. Once we're done doing that to the entire vehicle, then we're gonna move on to doing the white pad, the white foam pad with the white polish. And we're gonna achieve this exact result here that I just did with my test area. So with just a couple steps, we can achieve perfect paint very easily. Now, again, we try to keep it simple here, just 2 steps, and we didn't change very many variables. Just either it's the polish or compound or a different pad, maybe a couple extra passes, but we're not changing speeds, we're not changing pressure. And really, if you keep it simple, it makes it a lot easier to go around and do your whole car. This kit and all the products I use today in this video are all available at ChevroletAccessories.com, and you can even get it at your local Chevrolet dealership. Doing this yourself, I promise you can do it. The way the technology works with the machine, you're not gonna damage the finish. You're gonna achieve paint perfection easily, and I hope this video was helpful so you can learn and do it in your garage.